Welcome back to another episode of Torqued. So today we're going to install the Chevelle headliner, and believe it or not, we're going to do some upholstery. No turning wrenches today. So let's head out to the barn and get to work. We're at the part where we need to start working on the interior, and what comes next is actually the headliner. So the headliner itself costs around $180. The big expense is when I called the upholstery shop and they told me it's going to be $1,000 just to install it. So guess what I'm doing? I'm installing a headliner. So me and the wife are going to try and install this. I'll show you what I've done, what I've learned so far.
All right, so I've got the 5 bows in place, and then I've snapped them in position. And you can see this front bow. It actually, there's a few holes here on the side, and I tried to get it so that the bow is as far up to the roof as possible. Your center piece that actually it snaps into, it actually slides back and forth. I don't know if you can see that. So you can move that to try and tighten up the fabric itself. So now we're going to have to start stretching the material, try and get it as tight as we can. I'm going to put some clips on there just to hold it in place, and we'll start working away. We'll do the front first, then we'll go into the back, and then we'll pull on the sides. I'm only putting clips on, those type of paper clips, and we'll see if we can get this tightened up. We did put plastic all over the car, and that's just because we're going to be using that glue. And that glue, I did not want it to get on anywhere on the car itself, anywhere on the paint. So I just got out some, painting plastic, taped off everything. Okay, so we started clipping. I started from the center. I don't know if you guys can see that well. And started adding these clips going outward from the center on both sides. And then I did the back as well. So you can see some wrinkles in there. I'm going to keep on working around. I'm going to do the sides now, try and pull them out, and if that doesn't work, then I'll start all over again. We've got the clips on the side, and you can see I've got some wrinkles up there that I have to try and pull out. So we're going to continue to pull on the sides and try and get a few of these wrinkles out. And once we have the wrinkles out, then we'll start from the front and we'll start gluing the edge on, and I'll show you when we start doing that. Okay, we've glued the edges and stretched it as much as we can right now, and you can see some of the wrinkles that are in there, and I've tried to be patient and tried to pull those things out as best as I could, but we still have a few wrinkles in there. So we're going to wait overnight. We're going to go ahead and trim the excess, and then we're going to steam it and see how well it turns out from that. Hopefully it'll shrink up some. It'll look a lot better. I went ahead and put the light on there as well. We trimmed the edge of the headliner itself, and I started putting in the trim piece, and it just slides right in. It's just a groove. It's just a U-groove. Slide it right in. I am waiting for my sail panels, so I can't put this in until I have my sail panels, because they'll actually wrap around there as well. Yeah, so we cut the excess all the way around. I'm waiting for the trim pieces that go up here in front and the back, and then we'll go ahead and steam the headliner itself. See if we can't remove the rest of the wrinkles. We got the remaining pieces of side trim on the headliner itself, and it came out pretty good. I tried steaming everything several times, and it just didn't really do too much. So I ended up using a heat gun, and you just have to be really careful with the heat gun. I was using it on the lowest setting, and it seemed to do the best job. It took out majority of the wrinkles. I'm sure some more will pull out with heat, with driving it around, sitting it outside. So pretty happy with the results. Saved $1,000 by doing it ourselves, so you can't complain with that. I'm going to show you guys, and I can't believe that I'm going to say this, on how to sew a little bit. I'm still learning the process. I did use it on a few things, and it's worked out pretty well for me. I'm still learning quite a bit. But we ended up purchasing a console, and that was a sewing machine, and that was because they
They talked about the upholstery. They talked about putting in the headliner. They're going to charge me $1,000 to put that headliner in. You know, this cost a little bit over $1,000, which is quite a bit, but I could always turn around and sell this and make most of my money back, and it wouldn't cost me only a few $100s. So I'm just going to show you guys. I started doing this thing called a French seam, and I know you guys have probably seen this on car seats, and I'm going to show you how simple it is to do. You just, you know, it takes practice, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning, but I'm going to show you real quick how to do this. So here we have some fabric, and this was from the 71 Chevelle. It was some vinyl that was used on the interior. It's just some extra pieces. And what I did is just cut up a couple small pieces. I did mark like a 1/2 inch. I know a lot of times the professionals, I think they do less than 1/2 inch. And what I did learn is that it's hard to keep this material lined up together. So I saw on a video, and it's worked out pretty well for me. All you do is just take a regular stapler, and you can just line up the seams and staple it together. And if you're going around a curve or something, then you have to put like little relief cuts, and then you'll be able to bend the material the way you like. So let's go ahead and start this thing up, and I'll show you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this line. You have to put a lock stitch in, which means you're just going to sew forward and then go backwards and then go forward again, and it locks the stitch in on both ends. So this will just take me a minute, but you guys can sit and watch. All right, so you can see that we sewed our first line. I will pull out these staples because we really don't need them now. So we've got a nice seam in there. So what's neat about a double stitch is you take these flaps and you actually fold them out. And it's hard to sew with them just you're trying to keep them out. So they use a thing called basting tape, which is just a double-sided tape, something else I learned. And then I have some polyester ribbon. And on the car, I'm actually using the color black, just because the material's black. So it'll hide everything underneath. So you just fold this thing out. And see, now it holds it out, butterflied a little bit. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew on both sides of that center section, and we wanna try and keep the same distance. And this is where it's challenging for me, is trying to maintain that. So you're looking at where the needle is, where you're gonna try and measure off that and put, let's say, that center seam on one side of the foot or the other side. So let's see if we can get an even sew on this. I try and keep a little pressure going outward. So you can see now I've got the one seam on one side, so now we'll just repeat the process for the other. Hopefully I can keep the same distance. And there we go. That's a French seam. It's pretty cool. It's not that difficult to do. It's just trying to maintain that distance. And they have different types of feet that actually you can have a different distance, and it has like a little arm that will rest right in the center to help you maintain that distance. So we use this on the center console and in the pieces in the back, and I'll show you that in just a second. Well, we started some of the upholstery work, and it's slow going, and it's a learning process. Looks a little different.
This is that snake skin that we ordered, and I've already upholstered this. Had to sew the different panels onto this. You can see it also on this. We also did it on the package tray, and I'll show you that real quick. It's a little bit different. I think it turned out pretty good. We put some speaker fabric on the bottom side of this, and put like a little indentation in there just to give it a little bit of something to break it up. But it turned out pretty good. We did get our covers for the seat to replace these. These are the original covers. They're kind of dried out. Yeah, so we're moving forward. I'll show you guys the center console and what we did with that. So here's the center console, and what a pain this was. So we had 3 different panels, you know, your top piece and then your side pieces. Had to sew them together, and it's really challenging. It's really time consuming, but we did get it on, and this of course is that snake skin as well. So we got our new radio in there, our double din, and there's our start button, shifter. There's our window, where our window switches are, and of course the cup holder. I did make some removable panels, and we'll use some plastic clips to hold those in place. So overall it turned out pretty good. Did the top piece. That was probably one of the easier pieces to do, and then we'll have our storage compartment inside. All right, I wanted to show you the back side of this. I didn't show you this. So this is the ribbon that's actually sewn in place. And what's nice about this is that if you know the seam gets separated a little bit, you won't be able to see any light through there. But what's really nice is it increases the strength of this seam. It's really strong. And of course, this thread was probably a little overkill. It's probably the largest or the strongest thread that you could use on this machine, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to come apart. So and then you can also see the stitch distance, and I'll show you on this machine what that is and how to adjust for that. So I know I wondered, and I know you guys probably wondered as well, is why you need a industrial machine. And that is because this is really strong. It can go through leather, it can go through just about anything, but it also has a walking foot, so it actually is pushing the material forward, which is what you want, and it's pushing it forward a certain distance. And this is how you change that stitch length. It's just push on this and then change the dial. You see we've got it on 7, and that seems to be a really good distance for that seam as well. Here is the reverse, which you saw me lock the stitch in, which is really easy to do. And then there's the bobbin winder as well. So we still have a few items left to do on the car. We have to do some pieces that actually go on the side of the seats, and but I'm waiting for the door panels, and we ordered some TMI door panels, and of course they're on back order, and they'll go on, you know, the door panel will go on, and then these other sections of material that are going to be foam covered will go right here. So we're getting extremely close to getting this thing on the road. Just a few more items. Once I get these in, hopefully we'll have this on the road in the next month or two. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you on another episode of Torqued.